Hello everyone, my name is Amber and I chose to do my narrative presentation on the redundancy principle with a concentration on principle 1, which is not adding on-screen text to the narrated graphics and a psychological reason for the redundancy principle. So let's get started. Redundant on-screen text is having printed text and narration that are saying the same thing. One is by text and one is by voice. The text reads that evidence has shown that people tend to learn better from concurrent graphics and audio more than they do concurrent graphics, audio, and on-screen text. So let's look at an example. Here, in these two pictures, you see one that has the text and the audio, and on the other, you see no text. So, for here, you have an Excel document that has audio and text on the side. For myself, I look straight at the text to try and follow along with the audio. But what happens is that I'm so focused on following along, my eyes don't even glimpse at the narrator and how the narrator is explaining to me about the document, which is what the text refers to as a redundancy of information being delivered to the audience or students. The text explains that when learners see printed words, learners cannot be looking at the screen and the graphics at the same time. So you can see where here it has no words, but it's stating the same thing. So if I was the narrator, I could read all Excel formulas begin with an equal sign. Formulas also include cell references, mathematical operators, and numbers. Using a cell reference like B6 allows you to quickly update your calculations when your data changes. Click on the spreadsheet above to see the demonstration. So, as I was narrating that, my learner could go to the one with no words, no added audio, and follow along easily with what I was saying, like in this next example. Here, you have a graphic, and in the text, it explains that this energy is used to do several possible things, such as propel something, such as a bullet, or an artillery projectile, or burst open an ammunition item containing a chemical filler. So, in this example, since the narrator was able to explain the graphic without the additional words on the screen, the learner was able to study the graphic and understand the narrator without being overloaded with audio and on-screen text. Now, let's look at the reasons behind this redundancy principle theory. According to the text, there is a common belief that people have visual and auditory learning styles. So, in theory, screen text and audio should be both included so the learner can choose which method they want, and this would be called the learning style. But the problem with taking this route, is that in research, it still today has not been proven effective. So for like here, visual learning style and auditory learning styles. So now this brings us to try and see how things would be presented if it were just a narration and ammunition. So the emanation would enter through the eyes, and process in the visual channel, and the narration enters through the ears, and is processed through the auditory channel. This would cut down the overload, and the learner would be able to engage in appropriate cognitive processing, which concludes that the learner would learn better with omitting on-screen text rather than add on-screen text to the presentation slides. So, overall, what we have went through is just an overview of how important it is to study how learners can learn at their best. This presentation is to help people see why adding on-screen text, audio, and graphics can be an overload for our learners. I want to thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.